listening to The Cell on WGRN 94.1, brought to you by the Faith Thomas Foundation. Hi, I want to thank our listeners for tuning back into The Cell. This is Felice, your host. You know, this weather has been really crazy. It's been cold, hot, or shall I say warm, not necessarily hot, but I do call 50 kind of, warm. And it's causing a lot of people to get out there and get sick. A couple of times I felt like going out there with my jacket on, and I said, but just my luck, I'll be the one that catch the flu or get real sick because I'm running around without a jacket on. But I hope everyone's been out there, taking care of themselves and not letting this weather fool you into thinking that it's spring or fall and you're not dressing properly. As always, before we even get started, I like to say hello to my producer. So with us today, we have Katie. Hey, Katie. And at the moment, I'm hosting the show by myself today. Can you believe that? But we do have a very interesting show today, as norm. Seems like we always have something really interesting, but we have Heartland High School with us. It is a school that is going to open up in the year of 2019, and it is Ohio's first recovery high school for young teens. And I have Jen with me. So I'm going to have Jen introduce herself because I'm really excited to get into this conversation for our listeners to learn about this school. You might have someone out there, or you might know someone that could benefit from attending this school.
Hi, I'm Jen Belamu, and I'm the Student Engagement Coordinator with Heartland High School. I'm also the Peer Recovery Supporter, and I'll be working with the students directly.
Okay, Jen, tell us, give us a little history about Heartland High School, about how it got started, because I think it started in several different states, and that they are actually functioning in some of these other states. And how did it go about coming to be here in Ohio?
So recovery high schools have been around for quite a while. They started in Houston, Texas. The very first recovery high school in Houston, Texas was Archway. And when Archway opened, they had one student. They have many, many students. I think that school specifically averages anywhere from 60 to 90 students a year. There's another one in Austin, Texas that averages 100 to 190 students a year. So these schools have been around. They're only in 50 states. There's none in Ohio. A few years ago, Summit County tried to put one of these out, and they didn't get enough community support. And then Cleveland also tried to put one out and didn't seem to get enough community support. I feel very fortunate to be here in Columbus because we've gotten tons of support. This idea came from, there's a woman named Sarah Nearad, and she started the Collegiate Recovery CRC at OSU about 6 years ago. And she was originally from Houston, Texas, and saw the need to have one of these schools here in Ohio. And so she had a dream, and she connected with some other people that also had this same dream. And this has been in the works for about 3 years.
Okay. And I want to clarify, when we're talking about recovery, Jen, can you tell us what exactly, when we're talking about the word recovery for teens or students that are, I know what the recovery is, but I want our listeners to know exactly what type of child or young teen are you looking for in regards to attending this particular school?
Okay. So when we say recovery, we're talking about students that are recovering from SUD, and SUD is substance use disorder. That would include drugs and or alcohol. These students need to already be in recovery. This is not a mandated school. It's not one that they can be court ordered to. They have to come willingly to this because we have to create a safe environment for all students. So this needs to be something that they want for themselves, that they have realized that their substance use has taken them down a road they no longer want to travel, and they want to change their life, and we're here to assist them.
I think that, like what you're saying is that it's not anything that the courts can force them to go to. It's something that they themselves choose to attend, which says that the success rate for that happening is greater than if they were forced to do it. And I think during one of our conversations when we were at the criminal justice system wellness, I think it was a health fair that we were there, and one of the biggest things is that you mentioned that, resonated with me, was that the kids, versus putting the kid being placed back into the same high school that they originally were in while they were doing drugs, it would be better for them to attend another type of facility so they can continue to recover. So, tell me a little bit, how do you get the information out there to the kids and the families?
So that's a great question. So one of the things that we do, I go around and I talk to treatment centers, because students that are already coming out of recovery, this is the vital time, the very crucial time to catch them before they are sent back to the same school where they got in trouble and where all of the temptations are and where the old person's places and things are. So when they're coming out of treatment, whether it's long-term or short-term treatment, and they're already clean, that is the best time to transition them into our schools. Because what they've found statistically is these kids will be in this safe environment and get clean, and then when they go back to the same school with the same friends and the same environment, their likelihood of staying clean and sober is very, very low. But if they come to a recovery high school, they can continue. And statistically, they have found that these schools are extremely successful, and the majority of these kids actually stay clean and sober for the rest of their lives.
Wow. I mean, I was reading up on some of the success stories that were taking place in some of the comments that's on the web, and I do believe that's Heartland, heartlandhighschool.org is where you can learn more information about that. But how did you become, involved? Because I know that you were doing something else, and what made you take this path?
So this is actually pretty incredible. I worked at Maryhaven for 13 years, and I worked with adolescents in outpatient. We had a very successful program, but just like with all programs, we go with funding, and it depends on who's on the board and who the judges are, and if we get grants or funding. And our program, after so many years, it was multidimensional family therapy. It lost the funding. And so we all lost our jobs. And I had been doing it for quite a while, and I thought I should probably try something a little bit different, give myself a break. Social work has an average of about 2 years before burnout, and I had been doing it for 13, so I was feeling a little bit burnout. So I took a break, and I decided I'm a person in long-term recovery myself, and I wanted to dive into the nutrition piece of recovery, and so I got a job at Whole Foods. And I still currently work there. I started working at Whole Foods and learning about the gut flora and the candida in the gut and how it directly affects addiction and the brain, and how to correct that and take cravings away through vitamin supplements and proper nutrition. And so I was working there for about 2 years. And this woman, Sarah Neerad, that I told you about that started this school, her and I had already been connected because when I was working at Maryhaven, I used her CRC and her recovery collegiate at OSU for some of my students that I worked with. And so we were already connected, and she contacted me and said that they had a position open in this school and thought that I should apply for the job. And I had heard about this school about 7 or 8 years ago when I was at Maryhaven, And I remember saying to myself, oh my gosh, my kids could stay clean and sober if we had a school like this. So Sarah told me to apply. I applied and I got the job, and here I am. So I stayed at Whole Foods because one of the things I'm going to be doing with the students is teaching them how to prepare healthy meals. So it's good to have connections.
Now you mentioned two things, and I don't know, you said something about the gut that helps deal with cravings. What were those two again? Explain a little bit more
So the
about
gut
that.
flora. So nutrition in recovery is something pretty new. I've taken several trainings on it, and it's a whole different world talking about the gut flora that has not been dove into yet. There is something called candida, which is overgrowth of yeast in the gut, and that can actually cause cravings.
Wow.
To drugs and alcohol. And so if you get rid of the candida in the gut through proper nutrition, you can stop those cravings from happening.
Really? What are some of the foods?
So some of the foods are fermented foods. Like you have to be really careful, especially being a person in recovery. Some of the sweeter fermented foods can possibly contain alcohol, like kombucha, or there's some other things. But sauerkraut, fermented pickles, coffee is actually fermented, which a lot of people don't know. And so I actually dove into that, and I am a fermenter.
So that means that you drink coffee. If you drink coffee, that makes you have cravings.
No, if you drink coffee, it will help eliminate
the cravings. Okay.
And
All right.
that's also, without sugar and cream and all the other stuff that adds to the candida. Sugar feeds candida. Just, it's the same way if you're making bread and you put sugar in the yeast, it feeds it. So you have to be real careful about your sugar intake because that can cause cravings too.
You're talking to a diabetic over here, and I'm a bad diabetic. Hate to say that, but it's being honest.
Well, they've even found that correcting the candida in the gut can help with diabetes too.
Yeah, so we're going to
help
talk
with depression. It helps with a lot of things. They're saying there's actually on Amazon TV they actually have a program called the stomach is the second gut. The second brain. I'm sorry, the second brain. The gut is the second brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out.
All kinds of stuff going on in the guts.
Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely check that out. And you said it's on Amazon?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Amazon is just all over the place nowadays.
They sure are. They're my boss at Whole Foods.
Amazon
bought Whole Foods, absolutely.
I'm over here like stuttering. They brought Whole Foods?
They bought Whole Foods over a year ago.
Wow. That they are just shaking and moving and doing all kind of things, here. Wow. So what we're going to get ready to do is take an identification break here, and then we're going to come back with Jen. And I want to thank everyone for listening to WGRN 94.1. And once again, the Faith Thomas Foundation will not be able to do what we need to do without the platform of WGRN 94.1. And with that also being said, and talking to Jen, I've been playing these songs, at our little halfway mark here, and talking to her about Heartland High School and then dealing with kids that are in recovery. There is a song that I ran across because I think that young kids like that, and being able to have empathy or feel what they might be feeling, myself personally, they're looking for a second chance. And so this song that I'm getting ready to play is Look Up. So with that being said, this is by Lauren, I forget her last name, but we're getting ready to listen to Look Up. I hope you guys enjoy this song as much as I do.
Where are you now when darkness seems to win? Where are you now when the world is crumbling? say, I hear you say, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, where are you now? When all I feel is doubt. Oh, where are you now? When I can't figure it out. Oh, I hear you say, I hear you say, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up. You're not threatened by the war. You're not shaken by the storm. I know you're in control. Even in our suffering, even when it can't be seen, I know you're in control. Oh, I hear you say, I hear you say, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Oh, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Look up, child. Hey, look up, child. I hear you calling my name. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up.
I hope you guys enjoyed that song. I think that if there's an individual out there that as a teenager in high school or you know someone, I think to be able to be given a second chance, and that song just really makes the statement that you can do it. And with the right support and the right system, you can do it. And I do believe that Heartland High School is a good place to start. I think it's a great idea, to have a school that you don't place the kid back into the same environment so they can continue in this loop and to be around the same people who are, maybe are dabbing in the drugs, but yet not really what I want to say addicted to it as much as another individual, because each individual has their own level of addiction. And some people can just walk away from it and just say, hey, I quit, and that's it. And other people, like you say, when they have those cravings and those cravings are strong, that's a whole different subject matter. So when we were talking about during the song, you were kind of talking about, like at Maryhaven, how you had to deal with helping, young kids, and that what are you going to be doing at Heartland High School? What role will you be playing?
So my role at Heartland High School is going to be recovery services. So I will do groups with them. I will be pretty much all of these kids' best friend. I'll be monitoring them. The advantage of our school is because it's not a traditional school. So say a kid didn't get a lot of sleep because there was fighting in their house the night before. And they come to school in their mind, they didn't sleep well, and maybe they didn't eat very well for breakfast, and they're sleepy and they're disturbed because of what's going on. In a normal traditional school, with the numbers of students and the things that are expected of the teachers, they can't take the time to pull that student aside and say, hey, what's going on? let's talk. You don't have to worry about doing that math right now because I don't think you're in the right space to do that. The advantage of Heartland High School is that we can do that. If I see a kid is suffering and not going to be able to function and do the schoolwork, I can set them aside and find out what's going on and personalize it. So they're getting their schooling along with learning how to cope and deal with life on life's terms without turning to drugs and alcohol to make them feel better or as a coping skill. We're going to do so many different things. We will set them up with an alternative peer group, which is Guidestones Downtown has an alternative peer group, which is a peer group of all kids that have the same things going on and the same goals and the same direction, and it's peer driven. These kids are going to learn job readiness. So they will have job training with local businesses. They're going to learn how to cook and make a budget. They're going to learn life skills so that they're not only going to be prepared for college, they're going to be prepared for life when they leave our school.
So you do have, if I heard you correctly, you do offer like programs that help them to like zero in on what could possibly cause them or is causing them to want to use the drugs, like you say, life skills. So like that kid that's having a problem at home and might have seen, I think you gave one example of one kid having to watch his mother get beaten up and then wanting to use drugs to escape, so you offer programs or classes or training on how to deal with those particular type of things.
Absolutely. Those are things that we will be working with them. We're not a day treatment center, but there's things that I can work with these students, and anything that's outside of my capacity, we will have referrals to be able to refer them to counselors or extended treatment or recovery meetings or whatever they need. It's going to be custom for each student.
Will there be like medical, like a medical doctor, how like some students or some people that come from recovery sometimes have to take other type of medication to help them through recovery. So will there be a physician
There will not be a physician when we start out. That could be something, down the line, but when we open, we're just not going to have the staffing. We'll probably open our school with 5 to 10 students. So it's going to be very small, and we just don't have the staffing for that type of thing. These kids are going to be very self-motivated. They're already going to be in recovery. They'll know, the majority of these kids, we're doing 9th to 12th grade, but we take up to 22 years old. The majority of these kids, if they are on medication, they're going to know how to dispense that to themselves. And we will make sure that they know how to do that before they enter into our school. There's a screening process that they have to go through to make sure that they are proper and high functioning to be able to come to our school.
Now, there's some other organizations that I heard you mention with Katie that partner with you guys that will probably, if you're partnering with them, then you can seek help. From some of those. Who were some of those organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. Again? So we have quite a few different organizations. Guidestones is definitely one. They have the APG. The Columbus Foundation is one of our large funders. We work with Adam H. And we are working with Maryhaven and Pomegranate and just different places around town. The other day, I went to a holiday party with a lot of local businesses and connected with a lot of local therapists and psychiatrists that are really excited about the school that want to help out. This is one of those things where it takes a community to have this school going. And we've had so many people reach out and say, I've had art teachers say they'd come and teach art and volunteer and do that, and music teachers that have offered to come and teach music. You know, one of the blessings that we have is we had enough funding to buy some actual musical instruments for an outlet for the students to have. So we've got people that'll come and teach that, and we've had one guy say that he would come and teach Tai Chi and yoga, and the community is so excited and so pumped about this school. We've waited so long for this, and 3 years we've been working on this, and a lot of people know about us, and we're still getting that message out, because I need to scream it from the mountaintops so that everybody knows that we're there. But we have lots and lots of people that are supporting us that are going to help us to grow and be successful, and hopefully in the near future open up another one.
Yeah. So where are you going to be located at?
So we are at 760 East Broad Street. It's just right up the street from where we're at now. And it is in the East Broad Street Presbyterian Church. It also has Local Matters in there, and it has the early childhood learning. So it's a church. They're a wonderful, wonderful church that has been extremely giving and helpful to us. Mm-hmm. And they have some awesome programs in there also.
If someone, I know that I mentioned your website at Heartland highschool.org. Mm-hmm. Is there a phone number or anything that they can do to reach out to you?
So they can definitely go to the website. Right now, as of right now, I am the only employee, so the phone number is my phone number. But, they can like us on social media. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you like us on any of those, all of the updates, I take care of the social media right now until we open. And so all of the updates when we're hiring, we'll put the applications on there. When we're interviewing, when I'm doing anything around the community, I'll be putting this radio show on there to keep all of our supporters informed of everything that's going on. We have a very, very large following. So, like us on Facebook, and you'll get all the updates.
Great. So not only on your Twitter and all these other pages, so hopefully in 2019, the school will hopefully be opening, and I'm hoping that all the organizations that you're partnering with will start, recommending kids, you know what I'm saying, to Heartland High School. In addition to that, I understand that I know there's some costs with it, and that's why you're looking for sponsorship, but you also have grants, so they give scholarships.
So we do. We have, scholarships, and we can do sliding scale. One of the huge things that we're doing right now is the fundraising, because one of the things that we want is to not have to turn any student away. So giving of your time or your treasure, doesn't matter how big or how small, it all goes into the pot to help one of the students. If you've got $5 or $10 and you can donate to the school, that's going to help a kid, because it's a private school. It takes a while to become a charter, and so we're going to have to be a private school at first, and it is expensive. So we want to help these students be able to come without worrying about the cost. So please, any amount is helpful for us.
So once again, you can log on to www.heartlandhighschool.com. .org. I'm sorry.
And you can call at 614-288-5366, or you can email me directly at jbellemu@heartlandhighschool.org. And Bellemu is spelled BELEMU. And I am on the website.
I want to thank our listeners for listening with us. Peace out. Well, that's the end of today's show. I want to thank you for listening to The Cell on WGRN 94.1. You can find us on Facebook or at faiththomasfoundation.org for more information on our upcoming events. Join us every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. here on WGRN.